It's time for the grand finals here in North America. The two top teams from today's tournament are battling it out in a best-of-7 series, and for both of them, this tournament has been so important. M2KC were in third with just a 20-point advantage, and Method Orange, they were tied with the move at the start of this weekend, so this really is the moment for both of them. They really needed the points, and now both of them are guaranteed 100. They're guaranteed to be at least 80 points clear of the deficit between them and the 5th place team, which is the perfect situation to be in, given there's only one cup left and each cup gives a maximum of 120 points. Very safe looking for both of these guys, barring disasters next week. And now we get to decide who is the better of the two. Both of them have been very aggressive. Method Orange with the all-in cleave composition, and M2KC with the Holy Paladin version of the Rogue Mage. I'm Healingstar, I'm your host. We have Benruki, Supertease, and Zico for the grand final here. It will be our final series of the day, and we're anticipating a really good series here. You know, we're going to have probably both teams going for pretty aggressive styles, though Method Orange, they do have to consider that this is a completely different variant of the Rogue Mage. What would you like to see them running here, Zico?
I feel like the same Windwalker build, but maybe they can experiment a little bit more with what healer. I feel like the Shaman is going to get deleted by a Fire Mage Assassination Rogue, so if they can maybe run the Druid, Windwalker, DK, that could potentially be a play. Maybe a Holy Paladin of their own. We know Sidu had a lot of success with it against the boys yesterday, so there's a couple of options. One thing for sure though, if we do see Windwalker DK, I want to see Trill playing that same build as before, where he was going with the Serenity kind of one-shot build.
One thing that's very interesting about this grand final as well is it's actually a repeat of the first cup of summer finals. The grand final of that one was also M2KC versus Method Orange, I do believe, and it was when we were saying, you know, Method Orange, they had a very poor start for the very start of the spring finals. Wasn't very good for them, but then in the start of summer they did much better. And I mean, I think we've got to throw this one to you, Zico. Sorry, wow, it's been a long day. I'm missing up my words. The Arcane Mage is in from Jamili, and this is something you were talking about a lot in the last series.
Yeah, I was talking about Arcane Mage, but I'm not sure if I like it that much here. I mean, it's a lot higher risk to play the Fire Mage, but in the same vein, I feel like the Arcane Mage is kind of just not really going to be able to do too much in this matchup. We're going to have to wait and see what they decide to do. It looks like they're going to be going after Trill. The strength, Ness is a Frost DK as well. What is going on right now?
This is a very peculiar game number one from the respective teams. Arcane and Frost Death Knight, both specializations you don't see very often. There is no Restoration Druid either in the grand finals here for North America, so this is a matchup that we are going to be seeing for the first time. Trill using Fist of Fury to dodge Rosty's attacks as he looks to reconvene onto Jamili. Now, Jamili running Arcane means he gets a lot more blinks, and it is quite a lot. So potentially Mez anticipating some type of Arcane Mage there so he can run the Delirium build and reduce or increase the cooldown of the blink. I'm almost wondering if Method Orange saw the Arcane coming. Rubcup goes for the all-in, Blessing and Protection to remove Touch of Karma. Sidu has to respect that trade and use the Spirit Link Totem. Method Orange are so far behind initially.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily like the Frost Mage, although it will slow down some of that Arcane Mage mobility, but I'm still not convinced Mez is going to be able to solo down Jamili in this game like we saw him do to Wealthy Man. Rubcub, he's going to be able to hold on, at least initially, especially with that Avenging Crusader. Every time that procs, it's going to be a reset on Jamili's health as well as Rosty's, as we see right now, as they both bounce to full HP almost instantaneously. We really need to see Trill getting more aggressive onto Jamili in this matchup.
Triple leg sweep. Rubcup going to break out, pop the Avenging Crusader to counteract this Touch of Death. That Touch of Death was massive. Half of Jamili's health almost immediately gone after topping off. Rubcup now will struggle to stabilize, interrupted by Mez. Potentially the game-winning Mind Freeze as Jamili tries to blink to safety. Trill now on the back foot. How is he going to make his getaway? Earth and Wall Totem going to be placed by Sidu. Trill going to use Fist of Fury to also pressure Rosty's and sort of protect himself in this position. Sidu now stunned. Crowd control continues. Potentially M2KC can close it out here. Sidu is silenced. Rosty's gets grapple weapon. Trill going to roll around the corner to stay alive. Flying Serpent Kick across the field as well. Rosty's gets gripped away by Mez to support. Method Orange are pinned down.
Yeah, beautiful stuff here coming out of M2KC right now. They are in the lead. Sido gets counterspelled here. Trill in a lot of trouble here. No trinket. He has his touch of karma available. Might have to trade it out preemptively here. He's trying to dodge that kidney shot with the Fist of Fury, giving Sido a little bit of time to recover here. That Earthen Wall Totem, though, going to be fading. Jamili getting the blinding sheet from Mez there, interrupting his polymorph cast out of that Hammer of Justice. Beautifully done here by Mez on that Frost DK. Now you can see the pressure is going onto his Trill here. Still going to have to activating his touch of karma over onto Roasties, and it feels like Method Orange are just in a real world of trouble right now as Trill activates his big Serenity here, looking to punch Jamili.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big problems for CU in this matchup, and one of the good things about an Arcane Mage, is you can just spam Spell Steal consistently over and over and over. And that's going to be removing Riptide. That's going to be removing Earthshield on Trill. So Sidu's going to lose out on a lot of effective healing. This is one of the first time you look at Sidu's mana in this match. It's already down to around 40%. He's having to cast quite a bit to actually keep Trill alive. So far, there hasn't been much pressure onto Jamili. Finally, a little bit of burst coming in, but he's going to be able to run away. You know, the fact that he has the Chrono Shift, which gives him sprint with the Blessing of Freedom, allows him a lot of mobility in this match.
One thing I do just quickly want to ask you, two Arcane Mages, is Jamili, it doesn't look like he's using the Temporal Shield, right? Is that something that he should be using? It feels like he's the one being tunneled.
He's using Netherwind armor instead, which is frankly very, very weird. But maybe it will work out for him regardless. Jamili, you know, you can definitely outrange a lot of those purges. You're a very mobile class. You have that Chrono Shift. Every time he uses Barrage, he's going to be running around with 50% increased movement speed. And you can see him right now running very, very quickly. Now Trill kiting around the corners. Roasties gets the follow-up slap here. Do they have any more crowd control? Trill in big trouble. Triple DR polymorph. Garrote silence. Touch of karma. Going to be saving the day here for Trill. But to what extent is this going to be working? I'm not sure. Trill, he can hold on for now, but Sidu's mana, it's not looking great.
Close call after close call from Method Orange. They're desperate to try and get counter pressure here, stunning up both Rubcup and Roasties. Roasties the target of choice. Not much defense actually available for Rubcup. This could be a bit of a struggle for M2KC to recover. Dampening having now just kicked in. Hammer of Justice on Sidu. Trill needs to try and kite away. Rolling to midfield, but gets Shadow Step Kidney Shot. Sidu repositions, but Smoke Bomb line of sights him. Earthen Wall Totem going to be placed by Sidu, reducing the damage significantly and allowing Method Orange to stabilize.
And Jamili actually traded out his Ice Block there, so he has no Ice Block, although it's really difficult to take down an Arcane Mage for Mez and Trill. If they can get a big all-in with Touch of Death as well as Serenity, maybe they can take him down. Rubcup doesn't have too many defensives. His mana's falling lower and lower in the match. Rubcup might actually have to try to sneak away for a drink at some point in this match, but if Method Orange, they can stay on target, especially with the Frost Death Knight, I think there's still a chance they can take down Jamili. And without the Temp Shield, without an Ice Block, he is kind of vulnerable.
Yeah. Sidu now trinketing out of that blind, and there is a bit of an opening here. No Temp Shield, no Blessing of Protection, and Hand of Sacrifice there for Rubcup for a couple of more seconds. Roasty's taking a lot of damage here from that Fist of Fury, but Feint is going to be activated. Should be able to deflect most of that with that. Jamili now on that Arcane Mage, trying to dish out as much damage as possible here, casting out the polymorphs. There's the Earthen Wall Totem from Sidu. Method Orange should be fine for now, but like you mentioned, Maruki, Rubcup might have to go and drink here. Shaman and Paladin both kind of tied for mana, but I do believe the Shaman is going to have the edge there when it comes to healing efficiency.
All right, let's see if they can pull it off here. The defense for Method Orange has rotated back and available. Most of the defense for M2KC as well. Things are evening out between these two teams in the grand finals for North America. They are so close, neck and neck on points in the standings. Being able to defeat the other would be a significant boost in the standings and potential qualifications for the summer finals. Trill once again on the run. Fist of Fury trying to parry the attacks of both Roasties and Rubcup, but ultimately the Spirit Link Totem is required. Method Orange expending a significant amount of cooldowns. Trill now trying to counter-attack. Touch of Death along with Serenity is going to be a powerful hit. Rubcup fully respecting that hit, using the Blessing of Sacrifice to redirect the damage to himself. Trill now in trouble once again. Sidu is counterspell. Huge damage connects. Rubcup looking to move in. Roasties on the left. Rubcup on the right. There is nowhere to go. Trill. Ring of Peace gets dropped in desperation. Will it be enough? It is. It buys time for C2 to get the Earthen Wall Totem. Trill stays alive throughout another assault.
Yeah, Jamili's still looking for damage. He throws in the Gladiator's Maledict. Trill with no defensive cooldowns. He's in so much trouble. C2's almost completely tapped on mana. The spell steal is really paying dividends here for Jamili. Roses gets disarmed. Trill in desperation just trying to survive in this situation. Jamili pushing in, finds the Polymorph, and this is big trouble. C2 has his Trinket, but he's got no Spiritling Totem. Trill has to hold on another 13 seconds for his Touch of Karma. I don't know if Rubkov has a Blessing of Protection available. It doesn't look like it, but Jamili's in some trouble. He might just fall. The over-aggression from Jamili could cost him the game, but no. M2KC, they're continuing their offensive push. Trill trades out the Touch of Karma on Jamili. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to block it in this situation. And now, Jamili on the back foot. He's going to be looking to retreat, try to create some space. C2 trinkets out of the blind, and now a big offensive push from Method Orange.
Serenity active from Trill. This could just be the game here. Jamili, what are you going to do? He is not going to do anything because Trill is going to take him down. That offensive block not going to work out this time around. We kind of like these offensive blocks in general throughout the tournament, but that one, I'm going to be honest, that one was a little bit of a yikers.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a time warp at the end after the game as well. These mages really having impact on the tournament here. But the Arcane Mage pick actually looked pretty good for a while. But you got to say, Jamili very aggressive in terms of ice blocking aggressively. It didn't look that bad at the time, but it does have a risk. No Temporal Shield as well. Temporal Shield is a really big defensive cooldown. Honestly, we talk about it being almost overpowered in some of these matchups. Against the Shaman with the Purge, maybe less so, but still, you'd think it's a pretty useful talent here.
Absolutely, it's a great talent to have that Temporal Shield. Certainly a lot more effective than Netherwind Armor, which is about a 5% damage reduction overall compared to having, you know, a heal that can just top you off if you use it correctly. And, you know, if Trill and Mez can connect over onto Jamili, this is what can happen. However, the Arcane Mage, I gotta say, it is a big counter to a lot of these healers. The Restoration Shaman, the Mistweaver, you can spam out Spell Steal at a very, very reduced cost as the Arcane Mage. You're very durable. You have a lot of kiting potential here as the Arcane Mage as well, which means that these healers that rely on healing with Riptide, with Enveloping Mist, with Soothing Mist, you know, Mistweavers and Shamans, you can just basically make sure that their only healing is casted, and that gives you an opportunity to secure a counterspell, secure a CC chain at the back of that, and secure the win. So Arcane, very effective, especially if you drag on the game to dampening against those healers. Unfortunately, not able to do that when you don't play Temporal Shield and you ice block offensively.
I mean,
I gotta say it.
To be honest, though, I feel like if those two things hadn't happened, that game was looking really good for M2KC. Yeah. You get the feeling that if this matchup was played out again, Jamili's just a bit more conservative. They probably would win this matchup and potentially the series if this is the best method.
If Jamili can't die, I don't think anyone can die. Like, it's going to be really difficult. I mean, the fact that you have a mage in midfield that's essentially immortal, especially when you play, in my mind, all the correct talents, then all of a sudden it allows Rossi's freedom to run away. If he's in trouble, Rubkov can run away when he's in trouble, and Jamili can kind of just sit in there, tank out a lot of the damage. We saw how effective the spell steal really was. You get off Riptide, you get off Earthshield over and over and over. It makes it really difficult as the Restoration Shaman to actually keep a target alive through a Holy Paladin and Assassination Rogue just beating on Trill all game long. I think, honestly, I think this pick was really good, and I think Jamili coming in on the Arcane Mage was looking good as well. Some questionable talent choices, and I feel like you have to be a little bit more conservative with your ice block because you really do want to be that target that's immortal in the match.
What do we think about the Frost Death Knight here? It's something that Method Orange have experimented with a little bit in the past. They choose as their blind pick, presumably expecting a Fire Mage. Is that just kind of keep uptime on the Mage, do you think, Sid?
I think limiting the mobility, certainly. I think they anticipated C2 to be the target, so bringing in the Delirium to reduce the cooldown of the Blink limits Jamili's ability to get to C2. That's the only thing that makes sense to me in terms of them changing from the Unholy to the Frost Visualization after having success with the Unholy. Moving forward, though, maybe Method Orange don't lock the Frost Death Knights. They may blind lock the Unholy.
This is interesting as well. Small map pick from M2KC, right?
Well, I think they went Frost Death Knight for Jamili being fire.
Yeah,
if Jamili's fire, then it's a nightmare for him. But Arcane, you got some good mobility.
You got quite a few blinks anyways.
You're chilling pretty hard as the Arcane Mage. So for Method Orange, what are they going to do on this map? It's a hook point. It's a small map. I feel like for them, you could pretty comfortably lock in something similar. I mean, maybe they blind lock the Unholy Death Knight instead. The Frost Death Knight didn't look too bad. And I mean, if they beat the Arcane Mage with it, they could probably beat the Fire Mage with it. That's the matchup that they wanted. And I don't know what M2KC could really run. I mean, we know they have Rosita Jones on the Frost Mage. They could run Rogue Mage Druid, but Method Orange with this composition, they already beat Cloud9. So I think that Windwalker DK overall is looking good.
You know what I actually would really like to see from M2KC in this matchup is I actually think double cleave with a Resto Shaman to heal it is actually really susceptible to playing against the Ret Paladin. I'll be honest, like what Enlight have been playing in Europe, if Enlight were playing here, Ret Warrior, I think they would beat Method Orange with this composition. I mean, Resto Shamans are the weakest healer, healing just that truckload of damage.
I would agree with that.
I think Ret Rogue could be pretty good, potentially.
Maybe, but
you guys don't seem convinced. I mean, I also think Arcane
wait, hold up,
win as well.
Here's a question I have for you. Are you as confident in Jamili Ret as Kara Ret?
I actually thought that Jamili played pretty good on the Ret last week when we
Kara level good though?
Maybe not Kara level good, but ultimately I don't think it's the hardest matchup either. You're just kind of pounding two melees. Well, anyways, so we're going to see the Unholy Death Knight coming in. I think that's fair. I think now I take away some of my statement a bit, because Frost Death Knights, the other reason I was thinking is just because they're more of an exposed weakness.
I personally am not a big fan of the Frost Death Knight. I mean, I see the theory behind it. You want to pick it into the Fire Mage, and you want to kind of help Sea-Doo be able to survive with that pick. But in the same vein, I feel like the Frost Death Knight, he just doesn't do that much outside of making Trill have uptime. And if Trill is a target, I feel like Trill is just not going to be able to do too much without ever having Earth Shield or Riptide against the Arcane Mage. So I think it makes sense. Have Mez on the Unholy DK, you play into the Arcane Mage, and that way you have a little bit more pressure, and you're going to have at least, pets, diseases, things like that hitting Jamili. You can still win on mana as well, because you're going to be able to shut down drinks easier. You're going to have a tankier DK if they decide to go for him. So I don't know, I like it more overall.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It looks like M2KC as well, they're committing to the Arcane. And
I like that.
I do want to talk about this map pick from M2KC. Do you think it's fair that both the teams want the smaller map, or as the Arcane Mage, would you prefer to bring it to a bigger map? Because I think a lot of people would expect that, given their mobility.
Well, I just feel like in general, what they're looking for is, I mean, think about it. When Sea-Doo and Trill are surviving, it's because they're running around the pillar. These are the smallest pillars in the entire game. So I think regardless of the small map, Jamili still should be able to kite, still should be able to survive. I think what they're really going for here is just a little bit more aggressive map, a smaller area where it's more difficult for Trill to run away when Sea-Doo's caught in crowd control, or it's more difficult for Sea-Doo to run away if they decide to go after him. So I don't mind the map pick coming in from M2KC. I do like the fact that M2KC is playing the Arcane Mage. I feel like it's one of those mage specializations that's really underutilized right now, and I really enjoy that they're actually showcasing it here.
Yep, well, we'll have to see how Game 2 does play out. We're going to find out who is a true cool Tyrion here as we head to Hook Point. It is a question for M2KC. Jamili once again doesn't have the Temporal Shield selected as his talent. He's the person who went down in the last game, so if he goes down again, it's going to feel bad.
Let's just be honest. Temporal Shield is one of the best defensive talents it's literally one of the best defensive abilities in the entire game. Jamili died in the last game. I'm honestly kind of at a loss for words that he once again.
I think the only logic is that he's afraid of getting purged. But
who cares? It still gives you heals.
Roasty's stunned up along with Rubcub. Rubcub trying to recover without using too many cooldowns, pushing for a hammer. Jamili blinking for a poly, gets shut down, and Roasty's in trouble. Rubcub already having to expend the Avenging Crusader and the Blessing of Sacrifice. Significant cooldowns forced as M2KC are dawdling initially with their crowd control.
This map pick is definitely backfiring on M2KC right now. Roast is he's surviving there, but that was at the cost of the ultimate sacrifice from Rubcub, the Avenging Crusader as well. Sea-Doo gets sheep shot right there. Jamili not going to be able to secure a polymorph just yet, but he is an Arcane Mage, which means that he can find them. Nice Mind Freeze from Mez, trailing a Smoke Bomb, ports out with that Transcendence, still has his Touch of Karma available, trying to cast out a few Vivifies, not going to be able to find it. Jamili hammering down with those spells, still beautiful kick there from Trill. What is this overlap, Method Orange? Trill, he had a Touch of Karma, nice Blessing of Protection. Actually, I don't like that Blessing of Protection. They already got the Spirit Link, they already got the Touch of Karma. I feel like Method Orange already did a huge overlap there, and Rubcub could have just easily saved those cooldowns for later.
I mean, let's see. Here's M2KC once again looking to make a push. Trill with no Touch of Karma. He's an exposed target. He's got the Serenity rolling up. Who's he going to go after? Roasty still has the evasion, Touch of Death, Fortifying Brew. Massive attempt here on Rubcub. Rubcub's going to be in a lot of trouble. What is he going to do to survive? If he gets caught in a stun, if he gets interrupted, could be lights out. This is a Serenity, massive one-shot potential for Method Orange, and that is going to be the Divine Shield. And this is potentially one of the problems with the Arcane Mages. You do not have good counter pressure. If Mez and Trill can stay on top of Rubcub, they can easily take him down in a situation like this. This is actually a little bit scary for M2KC.
Small map is a double-edged sword, and it's starting to backfire on M2KC. They do make another push on towards Trill. Hammer of Justice on Seedu. Where's the follow-up? They need the polymorph. Jamili's not even bothering to go for it. Seedu going to wrap around the corner along with Trill. Looking to catch a healing wave, but counterspell is up. Kick is up for Roasty. Seedu needs to be worried about a blink counterspell. He's trying to fake cast it. Jamili isn't falling for it. Rubcub gets leg swept. We see Method Orange making another swap. Rubcub with limited options here. Pops the Avenging Crusader. Trill tries to use Fist of Fury to parry the attacks. Mez stuns him up for another second, but I don't think they're going to be able to find a kill. Mez is trying to save Trill, dropping the anti-magic zone for the stun. This is the only thing keeping Trill alive, even for a couple of moments. They pop off the Karma and immediately annihilate Trill. M2KC tying it up here in the grand finals.
Yeah, you can see that was something they were kind of going for in game one, just a little bit cleaner on the small map. It looked like it was kind of on a sword's edge, I suppose, in the regard that Jamili did take a fair chunk of damage at the start of that one, but they are also a very aggressive team, and that's why we like this matchup, because it really is on a knife's edge. Either of them can take the game so early on.
Yeah, and I can't help but feel like that overlap in the start costed them a lot, but also Seedu was a little bit too aggressive there at the end. He went for a hex, and unfortunately, he wanted to hex Jamili when he was already kicked on Arcane to shut him down. Unfortunately for him, Roasties had a beautiful shadow step kick there, and kick into a full CC chain is ultimately what secured everything. And I think Method Orange got a little bit baited as well. They wasn't sure maybe if Rubcub had another blessing, hand of protection there or not. But here is the play. Jamili gets interrupted on that polymorph right there, that one right there, and then Seedu goes for the hex. Jamili's going to be able to line of sight that anyway. Seedu unfortunately gets polymorphed right there at the back of that one. Mez trades cooldowns early on, but Trill can't get out of the stun. Touch of Karma gets traded as soon as he can, but unfortunately Rubcub does have another hand of protection left in his bank, able to remove that and win the game.
And this is such a tough matchup, I think, for Method Orange, in the same way that it was for Cloud9, just because the Holy Paladin version of Rogue Mage is so unforgiving. If you're a Windwalker monk, like I play with you on Windwalker, I play with Joe Fernandez on Windwalker a lot, and it is so hard to navigate your defensives because your most powerful defensive cooldown will just get removed by this Paladin. In addition to that, the entire team is running at you the whole game. So, I mean, for Method Orange and specifically for Trill, he has a really uphill task here.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, you have to basically predict that your Touch of Karma is going to be gonzo. You know, you have to be rotating through your Fortifying Brew, your Diffuse Magic. And as well, I mean, I have to give M2KC credit. One thing they do really well is their Maledict pushes. They're all running the Gladiator's Maledict. If Seedu gets caught in crowd control, I mean, one of the major ways a Windwalker monk keeps himself alive is through a lot of his self-healing. Expel Harm, and, you know, the Vivifies that come in. The problem is, when those are getting soaked up by Maledict, you can't keep yourself alive nearly as effectively, and you kind of get caught in this weird situation where you don't want to run because all of a sudden you don't have self-healing, especially if you don't have Diffuse. You want to be there for Seedu to get, you know, an Earthen Wall Totem down, or try to, you know, at least stop some of the incoming crowd control. It really is difficult, but I feel like overall Trill's been doing a good job with it so far. It's just on this small map, he doesn't really have much room, and that's why I like the pick by M2KC.
Yeah, I mean, the pick looked very good, but now I'm actually really curious if Method Orange is going to take us to a bigger map, potentially. It doesn't sound likely. I actually feel like the way that this Rogue Mage is playing so aggressively, it doesn't really matter what the map size is. They're always just going to play aggressive, so it's just about the size of the actual pillars on the map, kind of.
Well, they're going for Ashamane's Fall, pretty big map, so Method Orange maybe want Trill to have more space to avoid Roasties, as Trill was one of the main pressure points. M2KC immediately locking in Arcane again, not going to be changing to Fire. Method Orange, are they going to go Frost, or are they going to stay Unholy Death Knight is a question that I would like to see answered. The Unholy had good counter pressure, but maybe the Frost reducing the cooldown of the Blinks was very important in Game 1.
It actually could well have been. And the other thing is the Heartstop Aura plus the Delirium, right? So you also increase the cooldown of other abilities like Divine Shield and Ice Block and things like that, as long as you can stay in range with your diseases, I believe. So, I mean, it's an interesting choice. Method Orange, I feel like the way both these games have gone, though, the Windwalker Death Knight hasn't really looked that good. They won Game 1 sure, but it was more of mistakes on the side of M2KC rather than it looking like a favorable matchup.
I mean, I would agree with that. It felt like M2KC was winning game number 1 quite heavily. I mean, Jamili traded out his Ice Block a little bit aggressively, and we saw how that went. Sometimes it doesn't pay off, but Method Orange, I feel like they need to go back to the drawing board because that game was pretty convincing in favor of M2KC. Game number 1 honestly looked like it was just going their way the entire time. The Arcane Mage is really difficult for a Windwalker Death Knight to take down, and if you can't kill Roasties, you can't kill Rubcub, who are you going to take down?
Yeah, I think
I like that they went for Rubcub.
I agree. Yeah.
They forced out Divine Shield. I mean, it wasn't super one-sided, but it was kind of one-sided.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, firstly, you guys must be so happy, right? I don't remember which one of you were both talking about it, tweeted out that Arcane Mage is underrepresented. Yeah.
But I mean, it's something we felt, both of us have felt for a long time. You know?
Exactly, yeah. And I'm not taking it away from
There's a reason
Zico.
why you both have a comb.
Exactly, right? And both of you guys have been saying that Arcane Mage has a role in this meta, right? Like, when the cleaves are doing well, Arcane is basically immune to cleaves dying unless you kind of block offensively and don't run Temp Shield. But in general,
really
jokes aside, it is really hard to die. And M2KC, you know, since there's no real weakness on their side, that's what enables them to be so aggressive. Method Orange, they're once again looking in the Frost Death Knight here, but I wonder if there's a time where Samayam should come in and they might need the Mage just to actually find some semblance of pressure of their own.
I feel like the Frost Mage kind of gets countered too by the Arcane.
He needs to go Fire Mage.
What can they play?
He needs to go Fire
We need
Mage.
Sam to play Fire. We need these mages to play more than one spec, and that's why I like that's why I like Jamili right now, is because he plays two specs.
He's playing all 3. He has played Frost as well.
He plays 2 specs and he has Rosita Jones in the third spec.
No, he plays the Frost in the aggressive matchup.
Yeah,
Rosita Jones plays the defensive matchups with the Druid.
Yeah, when they played Aaron Paladin as Frost, it was Jamili playing it. I've been really impressed by Jamili throughout the last couple of tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, myself and Zico, I'm speaking on his behalf, are a little disappointed with some of the mages that are only playing one specialization, because I feel like if you want to be a well-rounded mage, you got to play all 3 specs, and if you can, it definitely will give you an edge, especially in situations like this. I mean, there's a reason why this matchup is looking good in favor of M2KC. I feel like if he was a Fire Mage, Jamili would have been tunneled down and under way more pressure in this matchup, and it could have been way more in favor of Method Orange.
Yep, M2KC, though, they won the last game, now looking to win the same. I'm surprised Method Orange went for the Frost Death Knight, but as Sid said, it does provide some tools, and we'll have to see if it's enough here in Game 3, best of 7 between these 2 teams for the grand final.
It just limits Jamili and his mobility. It makes it more of a 2 versus 2 between Trill CD, Roasties, and Rubcub. Mez can keep Jamili at bay. Roastie's going to charge in, immediately stunning 2 targets to try and support Jamili, but Mez is there. The Blinding Sheet is also some added utility from the Frost Death Knights, an area of effect crowd control that set them up well for a double leg sweep and certainly stopped the initial attack of M2KC in its tracks.
Yeah, beautiful opener here for Method Orange. They're going to force out the Everyman for himself. They're from Rubcub, and that was the Serenity of Trill as well. And like you mentioned, Blinding Sheet is going to shut down that crowd control from Jamili, and it looks like he actually can't really kite right now. It looks like Mez and Trill are going to be able to have some uptime here, and once again, he's not running Temporal Shield. I feel like he's never going to run Temporal Shield in the rest of this series here, Van.
I mean, it's looking that way. If he didn't use it after game number 1 after dying, I think it's unlikely he does it again. He must have really not liked it against the Restoration Shaman. And, I mean, I don't even know if it ends up mattering in the matchup. I feel like it definitely could, though. I mean, if Jamili dies in this game, that could be the reason why. We'll see. Method Orange, they're going to be making a look at an offensive push, and I feel like I like this a lot more. In the last 2 games, Method Orange took such a defensive posturing, and I think with the fact that Mez is playing a Frost Death Knight really is going to limit Jamili's mobility, even though he's playing Arcane, Shimmer, Displacement. They go on such a long cooldown, and he doesn't have much defense. I mean, this is not looking good for M2KC. Jamili lacking a lot of defense. He's already used his Ice Block. Rubcub, of course, he's got some, he's still got a lot of buttons he can help Jamili out with, but I think Mez and Trill, if they can stay on target, this is looking good for Method Orange.
Yeah, Method Orange looking solid here. The Frost Death Knight appears to have a place in the current meta, I was not expecting to see Restoration Shaman, Frost Death Knight, Windwalker with Serenity up against Arcane Assassin, Holy Paladin. This is definitely a treat for the North American Grand Finals of Summer Cup number 5. Sea-Doo crowd control, Trill the target. How is he going to make his great escape? Mez trying to allow him to stay stationary in the anti-magic zone, but they are just crushing through it. They get the Fortifying Brew as well as the Diffuse Magic. Multiple defensives pulled out of Method Orange's lineup. Thankfully, though, Trill still has Touch of Death and Serenity in his back pocket, and at any point he can pull that out, and it's going to be a big hit.
And this is it. Triple leg sweep, Touch of Death. Massive damage over onto Jamili. He's trying to run, he's trying to hide, but there's still a Touch of Death to roll in. Rubcub trades out the ultimate sacrifice. It's actually not the ultimate sacrifice. They're still pressuring down Jamili in the matchup. Luckily, Rubcub has massive heals to keep him alive, but if Mets and Trill can stay on target, this is scary for Jamili. He gets the Blessing of Freedom. Sea-Doo not in a position to purge that off, and that's going to allow Jamili a little bit of space, a little bit of room to breathe.
Yeah, and that was, like you mentioned, the Hand of Sacrifice there from Rubcub. They have one more Hand of Protection here, but Roasty's taking a lot of damage here, but Trill realizing that there is an attempt on Sea-Doo to get him in crowd control. Mez, double blinding sheet. Trill porting away to safety, goes back into the fight now that the Hammer of Justice has been used, respecting that push from M2KC, and Jamili's going to have to try to land a random polymorph. Sea-Doo triggering out of a blind. Trill in a kidney shot here. Jamili trying to spam out the polymorph over onto Mez. Trill in a lot of trouble here. No Touch of Karma available. There's the leg sweep over onto Roasties. You want to be using that over onto Jamili, but instead Sea-Doo is going to be able to stabilize him without using the Spirit Link there. So not a bad trade defensively there from Trill, and it's going to allow Method Orange to stay in it and keep their Spirit Link.
All right, Method Orange, they stay in it. Mana is starting to dwindle down, only 4 minutes in. They need to start getting some counter pressure. Jamili with no Ice Block for 3 minutes, no Blessing Sacrifice for 39 seconds. If they can crowd control Rubcub to get some burst in, it would be great. Rubcub's trying to utilize the big map for his own favor to sit down for a drink, not able to find it. Sea-Doo snipes him, although Sea-Doo's mana is still in the worst position at this point, although cooldown's better for sure. Rubcub charges across, lands the Hammer of Justice. M2KC's turn to attack. Mez stalls with a grip into that blinding sheet. Jamili cannot polymorph while crowd controlled, and that allows Sea-Doo now to escape the chain. Trill looking to get on target. Touch of Death available in 5, 4, 3, 2, and as soon as it's up, I'd imagine that he wants to pull the trigger on it as soon as possible. Tiger's Lust to connect. Serenity available. Pillar of Frost rolling. Double leg sweep. Touch of Death immediately from Trill. Jamili trinkets. Pops a Prismatic Barrier. Double Frost Nova, but Trill still in pursuit. Big Rising Sun kick. Fist of Fury. Touch of Death. Massive hit, but Rubcub equally gigantic heal. Blessing of Sacrifice, although it's not ultimate. Rubcub opting for the Blessed Hands for 2 Blessing of Protections in this matchup. There's still potential for Jamili to die through the Blessing of Sacrifice due to this scenario. Rubcub's Divine Favor activates. He catches a big heal on that Holy Light. The Avenging Crusader, maximum value, and Rubcub once again carrying through all of that huge damage.
Yeah, and Jamili will hold on as a result of that massive Holy Paladin healing. We're at 5 minutes and 23 seconds into the game. 3% dampening. Sea-Doo, he's managed to hold on to some mana, but M2KC, they've got a lot. I mean, Jamili's only 1 minute away from an Ice Block. Blessing of Protection gets traded out. Honestly, M2KC defensively, they're looking pretty good. Trill's forced defensively in this situation. Roasty's Blessing of Protection is going to be traded out on him. Trill really putting out some solid pressure as he's kind of running and hiding behind the pillar. I think Trill wants to wait for Touch of Death. He wants to wait for Serenity before trying to make a push on Jamili once again. But the problem is, the next time he pushes in, Jamili's going to have his Ice Block rotated back up. And they're giving M2KC some room to breathe in this matchup. And Mez on the Frost Death Knight really hasn't been able to put out that same kind of pressure we saw in the Unholy Death Knight in sort of 1v1 between him and the Mage.
Yeah, and this is Trill's Touch of Karma. Activates the Serenity as well. Big push on Jamili. No Ice Block available for a little bit longer. Rubcub, how are you going to keep him alive? The Divine Favor is available. Sea-Doo not going to be able to find a purge on that one, but mana is tying up here, and Method Orange, they are looking like the ones that are going to come out ahead in terms of mana. Jamili needs to do a good job here, spell stealing all of these Earth Shields, all of these Riptides, and force Sea-Doo to cast out the heals. There's a full polymorph on Sea-Doo. Unfortunately, it breaks to Roasty's damage there. I believe Roasty's now getting cleaved up a little bit. He still has his evasion though. He should be fine in this situation. Rubcup with that Avenging Crusader is looking to try to take Trill down. Fortifying Brew active by Trill. Sea-Doo, what are you going to do? You have a lot of work for you. Potentially the Spirit Link is going to be forced out here. No, he's going to go for the Spirit Walker's Grace instead, immuning some of those interrupts. Trill now trinketing out of a stun, but still in big trouble here.
He's in massive trouble. I mean, Sea-Doo and Trill, they're trying to run, but Sea-Doo just can't recover. The spell steals from Jamili are really significant here. Jamili now just soloing down Mez, and keep in mind, as the game goes on, Mez is going to have a really difficult time keeping himself alive, especially being a Frost Death Knight. All three members of Method Orange in a little bit of trouble right now. Arcane Power available in around 40 seconds. As well as the Vendetta of Roasty's coming up in 19. M2KC, they're looking to make a push. There's the full polymorph on Sea-Doo. Mez in trouble, Trill in trouble. He's got the Touch of Death rolling. Who's it on, though? No one's taking damage. Trill actually just going after Rubcub. If they can get the Divine Shield, it's going to be big. Not sure they're going to be able to do it. Rubcub just running. He's hiding with the Freedom. Roasty's trying to peel for him. Jamili trying to peel for him with counter pressure. But I think Rubcub's going to be able to hold on, and now Trill has such a difficult decision to make. Is he going to trade out the Touch of Karma? The Touch of Death didn't get what he wanted, and this is looking better and better for M2KC. However, I mean, Rubcub is kind of struggling to top his team off.
I feel like if you're M2KC, you start targeting Mez right now and try to kill him. Trill is able to live because he can portal so far away. Mez can't do that. M2KC now switching targets. Sea-Doo denies the kill with the Earthen Wall Totem and looks to try and drink. Rubcub moves forward. Jamili blinks in. He's not going to be able to. Hammer of Justice lands. Jamili secures further crowd control. Mez could be in trouble. He realizes this. Activates the anti-magic zone to absorb some damage onto himself from Jamili. But Roasties doesn't really care about that defense. Likely we will need to see more from Mez here. Full blind. Sea-Doo trinkets. Now into a silence. Roasty's trying to set up for the winner, at least for a big cooldown like the Icebound Fortitude. Sea-Doo going to respect this damage, trade out the Spirit Link Totem, answering the Arcane Power of Jamili. Rubcub getting stunned up. Method Orange, they're desperate. They're trying to go for the healer of M2KC and put this game down to a race, but Avenging Crusader activates. Rubcub going to be doing a lot of healing in the face of this push, as well as damage. Triple blinding sheet from Mez. He's trying to stall and get some extra single target damage over onto Rubcub, but Rubcub has Divine Shield. Mez now against the wall. He has Icebound Fortitude. He's going to press it on critically low health. Gladiator Safeguard gets spell stolen off. Icebound Fortitude's going to be fading shortly. Sea-Doo needs to connect that Earthen Wall Totem ASAP. He's choosing not to activate it just yet, holding on, but finally does have to. If we see them reposition out of the Earthen Wall Totem, I'm not sure if Sea-Doo can even stabilize Mez. 27% dampening. Counterspell in from Jamili. Roasty's looking to push forward. Mez ducking for cover with Chains of Ice on Roasty. Mez is actually marching forward despite all of the pressure. This is a tough call. Both teams are out of mana. How do they push forward?
Rubcub is trying to outrange that Death Grip of Maz. Sea-Doo now is going to make sure that Rubcub doesn't get a drink here. Sheep shot by Roasties, followed up by a full polymorph. Mez is in big trouble. Uses his trinket to get out of that one. Roasties has to trade his Cloak of Shadows. Trill, it's time to be aggressive here. Yeah, I want to see Trill just go after Rubcub in this situation. They just used the kidney shot. Mez is the obvious target. They're going to grip in Jamili. Double blinding sheet into the double leg sweep. Jamili now taking the brunt of the damage. This could be his ice block. Roasties, though, getting cleaved down here as well. Activates the feint. There is the Hand of Sacrifice. Sea-Doo in a Hammer of Justice. Jamili looking to close, and the M2KC is going to take game number 3 on Ashman's Fall.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems so difficult for Method Orange to get pressure. I mean, sure, there's moments in the game like Serenity is a big punch from Trill, but as long as M2KC always have an answer, even in the late game, you would expect them to win. They'll kill the Death Knight. In the early game, it seems like they can also force Method Orange defensive. And this composition, just the matchup and the Arcane Mage especially coming in from M2KC, it just feels like this makes a lot of sense, and Method Orange are going to have to figure something else out if they are to win this series.
Yeah, I think Unholy DK just works better, honestly. Like, having extra
even the
uptime,
Unholy Death Knight, to be honest.
Well, I feel like the Unholy Death Knight didn't work out just as nicely because of the map as well. I think either they play the Frost DK and they go from Rubcub from the start, or they play the Unholy DK and they go after Jamili in a similar fashion that they did now. Either way, I feel like, I mean, Method Orange, they're not in the greatest situation when it comes to healing, because like Jamili, he's just able to spam purge these Riptides, these Earth Shields, and it's really taxing on Sidu's mana. He puts a lot of pressure on Method Orange because they just never have a healing over time effect really doing anything for them. So these grip into double blinding sheet, double leg sweep combos, they're nice, they're well coordinated, but you can easily rotate through your cooldowns as well and survive it. And in the long run, the Arcane Mage is always going to win this matchup.
Yep, and it definitely did play out that way in Game 3 here. For Method Orange, I mean, it's not an easy answer, right? Like this Arcane, I mean, Iron Paladin in general, we talk about it being incredibly strong, but the Arcane actually, it takes away the main way that people beat this composition. Is there a world where they attack Rubcup a little bit more, I'm wondering? Because the Paladin, I mean, if they can catch him, he doesn't have that many defensives to get away, especially with Frost Death Knight. I think he also increases the cooldown on Hand of Freedom, right? So maybe there's an opening there?
I feel like when Rubcup is playing aggressive, he's the best target by far. I mean, they should be committing the Touch of Deaths, and if they can get, you know, the Blessing of Protections, they can get the Divine Shield, that gives Trill a little bit more freedom and flexibility as well for getting out his Touch of Karma. So if he gets those defensive cooldowns with his Touch of Death, then he can play more aggressive with his Touch of Karma, and overall, it's just a lot more pressure. The problem is, you kind of get caught in midfield. If Sidu is, you know, the fact is, if Sidu can't dispel the Blessing of Freedom, Rubcup's going to be able to get away with the Freedom and Divine Steed, and then Trill gets caught in this position where, you know, Riptide's being cleansed, Earthshield's being cleansed, and it makes it really difficult for him to sort of run and chase behind the pillar, especially if Sidu can't stay on top of Rubcup. So it is kind of risky, but I think if Rubcup is playing aggressive, he's the one they need to punish.
What do we think is the weakness of the Arcane Mage? Because you guys obviously talk about his strengths quite often. If you were playing against Method Orange here, what would you be afraid of coming out of them?
Being left alone. If they just go on my teammates, I feel like it's really hard to find counter pressure.
Okay, so it is just attacking Rubcup then.
So what I think it has to be is if they're going to go after Rubcup, they need to commit to it. Like Sidu needs to be like going aggressive and, you know, making sure he's trinketing out and, you know, freeing up Trill and Mez, because the one downside of the Arcane Mage is you are, I mean, the upside is you're really hard to kill. You know, you have Spell Steal, you do have decent burst if you're getting missile procs, but your consistent damage is
not the best.
It's not good. On live, it's really good because you have, you know, sharks, and orbs flying out all over the place with these trinkets. But unfortunately, on the tournament realm, they don't have access to that, and you lose out on a lot of damage. Your consistent damage as an Arcane Mage overall is pretty low. So Method Orange, they can kind of take advantage of the fact that Jamili's not going to be putting out that much damage, ignore him, and actually just try to all-in Rubcup as much as they possibly can. And I actually think for Method Orange, I think Holy Paladin might be decent. I think they need more stuns on Rubcup. If they can get him a Hammer of Justice, Asphyxiate Stun, or Hammer of Justice Leg Sweep, that's when they can get really aggro.
I actually like Feral Affinity Resto Druid as well. I don't think that he's going to go down when he has, you know, Anti-Magic Zone and DK essentially peeling, and it's going to add so much more damage. I mean, who are you going to go after? There's so many good targets for M2KC. I feel like Sidu on the Restorator can have a field day just tunneling Rubcup on that healer as well.
Have you seen him play that?
Feral Affinity,
Feral Affinity often?
A little bit, but he doesn't do it for damage so much, more just for crowd control. But we've definitely seen him on it.
Okay.
I think that's the move.
I'll say one other thing about the Feral Affinity Resto Druid. It's one of the few melees that can actually catch an Arcane Mage. It's like you can actually get good damage out on an Arcane Mage with triple leads. But I mean, equally, I think this is a really important point. Like Arcane on live, it's really scary in terms of offense as well. But a big part of that is the fact that you can get sockets. You know, you can RNG sockets on your gear, spam haste, and that. That's something that Volts does.
I actually like this.
But this is interesting.
A little bit.
The Demon Hunter coming in with Method Orange. So what's the strength of this? Why is your initial reaction that you like this?
Because Demon Hunters can attack Arcane Mages a lot, I guess.
More so than the mana burns?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I guess I don't like it that much because the Restoration Druid, I don't know what Method Orange is really going to do. I feel like they have to try to kill Rubcup because even though Trill is on the Demon Hunter and you would think, you know, he has high uptime, I really don't see Jamili dying in this matchup, especially the fact that he can just spell steal the heal.
But they're playing into the strength of the Arcane Mage right now.
But equally, they do have a very obvious win condition, right? Like Mana Rift is going to be powerful against the Paladin.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're not going to have any healing over time effects up pretty much ever. And I don't think Trill is going to have the uptime that he expects. I feel like as an Arcane Mage, you can just outrange a DH. You have 40-yard range, instant spells that you can just run and spam. And at the same time,
I love Arcane.
You also have Hand of Freedom from your Holy Paladin. So at Trill, either you get Mana Rifts and you don't reach Jamili, or you don't get Mana Rifts and you kind of reach Jamili.
You know why I love Arcane Mage?
Go on.
Because in this situation, I mean, you're going up against an unholy Death Knight and a Demon Hunter, and you're still just, they can't kill me ever. They can't touch me.
But the only thing that I feel like really kills Arcane Mage is Feral Druid and I mean, maybe Assassination Rogues.
Those are extinct at this point.
Yeah, so. I haven't seen. Yeah, they're like Siberian tigers. I haven't really seen those around too often.
And I also feel like a Feral Druid would not want to queue into RM Paladin. Like, sure, the Arcane Mage, he can catch him, but the Rogue can catch the Feral even easier. So, I actually, one thing about the Demon Hunters is interesting, and we'll have to see how this plays out. Demon Hunters are one of the healers that, I mean, one of the classes that can actually kill Paladins reasonably easily. Like, there's not that many trash buffs, so you can easily purge off the Divine Favor, the instant heal. And also, the Mana Rift, like, is very effective against Paladins because they don't have hots up, which means once you're out of mana, you really are out of healing.
Honestly, this kind of makes me feel like Method Orange is getting desperate because I talked to Trill a little bit yesterday. He was actually talking to me about, this is Zico's prediction, about what possible composition that could be Rogue Mage Druid, the Demon Hunter Arcane, and he was saying, oh yeah, there is a Demon Hunter Arcane that plays on the ladder, and I asked him, I was like, man, we should play. He's like, I'm not playing my Demon Hunter. I don't like them since the nerf. So now he's...
I mean, equally, Sea-Doo said he didn't like Shaman since the nerf, and he's basically won this tournament off the bat of playing Shaman. So, well, maybe he was bluffing, and maybe Trill was bluffing too. Who knows? I mean, maybe they're rubbing off on each other a little bit here.
Stop saying that.
Well, that's
I'm worthy of playing with, okay?
All right. I think you said that yesterday as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I know. He keeps saying it. Why?
I mean, maybe it's just like
want you for myself.
He's trying to bring you down so that you play with him. Maybe that's an abusive relationship.
Yeah, that's not what a friend would do.
All right. Well, it is 2-1 in favor of M2KC. Bear in mind, one other thing that we should consider before we go into this game is that M2KC were set to qualify for the spring finals, and then they went 0-9 in tiebreakers against DHDK Druid, leading to an array of tweets from Jamili about how much he hated this composition. Now Method Orange are looking to serve him up a defeat once again here with the comp, though the meta has changed and M2KC are still looking favorable in the series.
Maybe they're trying to tilt Jamili. They know how much Jamili hates Demon Hunter Death Knight, so they're getting desperate. They don't really know what comp to play, so like, how can we just set Jamili off and maybe try and win off of that? That's certainly maybe potentially on the table. Perhaps they do plan on training Rub Cub. I do believe, I agree with you, Adrian. Demon Hunter can excel at killing a Paladin. Death Knight with good support as well in those necrotic strikes, but M2KC look like they're actually just going to try and kill Sea-Doo. How effective is this with the arcane specialization, Zico?
Well, they can do a lot of damage over in Sea-Doo. I mean, they can just keep spamming Purge on him, and it's all going to be about Roasty's uptime, but it's a very aggressive strategy, and if Sea-Doo can kind of survive for a long time, then all of a sudden Method Orange are going to have a very obvious win condition here. Right now, Sea-Doo is doing a good job here, holding on to Renewal. He traded out his Barkskin and his Iron Bark, and now he had to Trinket out as well, actually. Sea-Doo is not looking great right now. Next Kidney Shot could be big trouble, could potentially be the Renewal. 2 more Kidney Shots, he could easily go down here, and in M2KC, they have all of their offense still available. Arcane Power is going to be rotating up for Jamili easily by then as well, so good opener for M2KC so far.
I like this. Just go after Rub Cub in the match. I mean, we kind of wanted to see them just ignore Jamili. Mez is going to be sitting on him a little bit, but if Trill can consistently land these mana rifts, it's not going to be looking too bad, although Sea-Doo's going to be in a little bit of trouble. Kidney Shot over onto him, and Jamili, of course, is just going to be spamming out Spell Steal. It's going to be difficult to stay alive. What is Sea-Doo going to do? Iron Bark comes in. He's already traded out his Trinket. Doesn't want to have to use the Bark Skin also. He is spec'd into a Renewal, so I think Sea-Doo was a little bit expecting this in the matchup. But look, Trill in a Polymorph. Mez was caught in a Frost Nova. It's a 3v1 situation. Then Sea-Doo, this is going to be a real struggle for him to handle this kind of pressure.
Yeah, Jamili's got a lot more mobility. He can get in line of sight very easily. He's going to be spamming Spell Steals as well. This is going to be difficult for Sea-Doo to survive. He's just got to hold on. If Trill can keep landing these mana rifts, they can burn Rub Cub out of mana, and at that point, limit his ability to heal incredibly and likely find victory. Although mana is surprisingly even with the mana rift strategy, mostly because Trill is getting left behind every time Sea-Doo tries to run away. Oh no, Sea-Doo gets caught out of bear form in a Kidney Shot. Mez is there to save him by stunning Roasties at least to stall some of the pressure. Trill rolling on in to counter pressure. Roasties dangerously low. Cloak of Shadows, he blows his entire defensive lineup there. A bit of a panic attack for Roasties during that push.
Sea-Doo actually makes it out here from a very strange situation that he was in. He wouldn't have his bark skin, he wouldn't have the renewal, nothing for that Vendetta. Now smoke bomb attempt over onto Trill. Sea-Doo reads it with a preemptive Iron Bark. Trill might just go down through it. He really strips off the safeguard. Rubcub is looking for the Hammer of Justice. He finds it. Trill, I think he's playing reverse magic. He's not going to be able to use it in this situation. Gonna hold on to it for the polymorph. Nicely done there by Trill. He should be able to stabilize in this situation with that metamorphosis healing. And now Rubcub is the one on the back foot. There we go. Method Orange with the mana rift right there. But Trill in another kidney shot. Big trouble here, man.
Uh-oh, Trill could just easily fall. He's in so much trouble. Sea-Doo can't keep him alive. Darkness, anti-magic zone, everything overlapped. Method Orange hangs on by the skin of their teeth, but unfortunately, that was every single cooldown they had available. Finally, Sea-Doo has the Iron Bark. He trades that out. It might as well, right, at this point. Rubcub's in some trouble, though. Caught into a bash. Mana Rift's starting to pay dividends for Trill, but he has to stay alive. He's in a lot of trouble. He's got to run, but it is difficult to run and escape from an Arcane Mage.
Roasty's low on health here, as well as Rubcub. This is going to be difficult for Rubcub to recover. Sea-Doo gets sapped. Beautiful play by Roasties, but unfortunately no damage during that crowd control, so not going to be capitalized on whatsoever. And Trill now in Metamorphosis is doing a lot of healing with that leech effect. Unlikely that we see him go down. Rubcub in trouble, goes for the Divine Favor on very low health. It may have the Divine Shield as well. He manages to hold on to it. Avenging Crusader, big attack here from Rubcub, potentially the last counter attack of the match if he has dwindled down on mana any further. Sea-Doo going to respect this push, activating Iron Bark. Trill going to stabilize, looking to counterattack Rubcub. Rubcub doesn't care as long as he's got the Avenger Crusader, but now he's stunned up. Mana Rift, I-Beam interrupted instantly by Roasties, trying to slow down some of the damage towards Rubcub, but that mana bar is slowly but surely going down to 0 for Rubcub. Trill stunned up once again, and M2KC continue to counterattack.
Beautiful stuff here from Method Orange, holding on by a thread at this point in the game, but at what cost? Sea-Doo has no CDs here. They do have the reverse magic and Trill's Trinket. That's going to have to be the next trade they make, and then after that, Anti-Magic Zone is rotating back up, so Method Orange not in the worst spot right now. There it is. Nice Mana Rift here over onto Rubcub. His mana's dropping dangerously low. I actually would have liked to see him use that Divine Shield perhaps there, but Trill caught up in a kidney shot. This should have been the Trinket and that reverse magic. No polymorph to follow that up, though. Sea-Doo did shapeshift that, and as an Arcane Mage, you don't necessarily want to be running that Ring of Frost. Instead, you want to run that Chrono Shift, which is what Jamili is running right now. Whenever he uses Arcane Barrage, he gets a big speed up buff, and he's trying to get those polymorphs out here with Rubcub. He's going to have to use his Divine Shield for sure next time he gets stunned up here. Trill is looking to land it. Divine Favor. He's going to connect Trill in a big kidney shot here. Big trouble. This is the Vendetta.
This is a lot of damage on Trill. Rubcub has managed to hold on with massive heals. Sea-Doo in a Hammer of Justice, and Trill in so much trouble. Rubcub getting low at the same time. What is he going to do? Gladiator Safeguard procs. He's running, he's hiding. Trill's getting low. Sea-Doo has to play catch up, but Jamili snipes an interrupt. Nice counterspell. Trill still running and hiding, but Jamili with the Arcane Missiles keeping up the pressure. Roasties, Rubcub, they're all over him. Smoke Bomb gets dropped out. Roasties lands the cheap shot, keeping him locked down. Sea-Doo with no mana. Rubcub with no mana. This game could easily go either way.
One thing going in favor for M2KC is that Vision of Perfection on Rubcub. He can just proc Avenging Crusader. How much mana does Sea-Doo get? The tiniest bit, maybe enough to extend this all the way to finish it. Rubcub stunned up thanks to the reverse magic of Trill. Now in a bit of trouble. Divine Favor, if he gets dispelled on it, it could be over. He doesn't get dispelled on it. Big heal from Rubcub. He's going to be A-OK. Avenging Crusader procking. Iron Bark from Sea-Doo. Will it be enough here? Dampening starting to ramp up. Trill gets instantly interrupted by Roasties once again on that I-Beam. Very important to limit that damage output from Trill. Rubcub has Gladiator's Maledict stacked up on him very high. Doesn't look like he has the mana to dispel it. It's looking like he's likely to go down.
Shield.
Why did he use Blessing of Protection over Divine Shield? He's just going to die to the magic damage. Big mistake by Rubcub. Method Orange tied up.
Yeah, and I really like the DHDK. One of the things that's really nice about it is that Holy Paladins, in order to be strong, they need to play Vision of Perfection, which means they can't run full mana regeneration talents like some of the other healers do. Equally, when Vision of Perfection procs, it gives you a lot of free healing, but at the end of the day, that DK packed a punch, and Method Orange looked much better in this game than I'd say they looked in any other so far this series.
Yeah, I feel like it was okay, but honestly, Cedar right in this particular mode right here, he's just sitting down drinking right next to Jamili and Roasties, and Rubcub gets enough mana. He was actually completely tapped on mana before Rubcub, and Rubcub as well with a kind of rare mistake there at the end, mismanaging some of his defense with that hand of protection over that Divine Shield. So a couple of mistakes on M2KC. This game could have still gone either way, but definitely looked a lot closer than the Windwalker DK games. And, you know, I like what they were doing here. Method Orange were just kind of going for Rubcub, ignoring Jamili, not really playing into the win condition here. So a beautiful execution by Method Orange as well. And I feel like Cedo had a really good performance as well in this game. Trill should have honestly died at multiple times. It feels like if Cedo didn't read the situation with, you know, preemptive iron bars and things like that. So nicely done, and also nice kiting by Trill, using his reverse magic and things like that to break out some of those CC chains. Clean game by Method Orange, but it was way too close for comfort. Yeah,
it was, and I think that's an important point. For example, if Cedu hadn't got the pre-iron back on that bomb swap from M2KC, almost certainly would have been a clean kill. We'll have to see what M2KC do decide on in this next game. This grand final is tied up 2-2. This has been a very intense grand final. Both teams going all in with aggression, and 2-2 it stands. Nothing can separate M2KC and Method Orange in this situation. We got 3 more games potentially to play out here in this best of 7. And I mean, both these teams have been going back and forth. Sometimes we think M2KC has the advantage. Then Method Orange brings back the Demon Hunter DK, a flashback from the spring season. Looking pretty good on that one, though a game that could have gone either way. And one thing I want to throw out here immediately, Zika, I know we've been a big fan of the Arcane Mage, but when I see Restoration Druids with DHDK playing against Asa Fire Holy Paladin, I'm really scared for them. Do you think Jamili will bring out that Fire Mage as a counter pick and tunnel down Cedu?
I feel like there's different ways that they can approach this. They can stick with the Arcane Mage. I think it's a decent matchup. They can bring in Rosita Jones on that Frost Mage and play the Feral Affinity and just tunnel Cedu the entire game. They're going to stick with the Arcane Mage, and Method Orange are actually going to blind lock that Windwalker DK. Now, I like this from Method Orange. I actually like this comp more than the DHDK even. I want to see Method Orange just do the same adaptation that they were started to do late in the Ashamane's fall game. Just go for Rubcub. Ignore Jamili. He's not going to be providing... Basically, if you race Jamili, where you go for Rubcub and you allow Jamili to get crowd control and they go for Trill, you will win that race. You have more burst, you have more consistent damage, and you can just kite away after you get a cooldown from Rubcub. So I feel like that's the line of play for Method Orange here. And if they execute on that, that's the way to go for it. If they start tunneling Jamili the entire game, Temp Shield or not, he's going to survive.
I feel like this is listening to an eloquent dissection of a Super T strategy, because I could definitely see Super T saying, just suck the healer. Why would you just suck the healer?
Why
That's
is
what
that
we want to see. You always love these sorts of all-in strategies from the North
Why do
American
I love them?
League.
I just say that they do it. It doesn't mean I love it, Adrian.
Come on, Sid.
We see how you're feeling.
Yeah, we see you. Whenever someone runs it, you're a dampener.
You're not a dampener.
Yeah, you're not a dampener.
It's just a front. I say that
I
stuff.
don't know.
It's just a front. I dampen.
Method Orange, their pressure is really on them in this situation. They're behind M2KC on points. If they win this, they will have 100 points on the move at the end of this weekend, I do believe. So everything to play for the side. And I mean, if they can all in here on M2KC with a Holy Paladin kill, I think that would be really good.
My last rank 1 title, and it was a while ago, so it's sort of hard to remember. It was Arcane Moonkin Holy Priest. I'm a dampener.
Okay,
I play random comms.
No.
I make the specs that
whatever makes you happy,
work. I make them work, and I dampen people. Trill getting all into this game by M2KC, immediately bopping off the Karma. Any Magic Zone trades as well. It might not be enough. Cedu trinkets into a stun. M2KC once again with all-out aggression.
Yeah, massive damage on Trill. What are you going to do? Cedu trades out the Spirit Link Totem as well as this trinket. That's massive defense overlap. Trill used the Fortifying Brew, but they're looking to go for Rubcub. I like the strategy. They need to get aggressive. Rubcub, he used the Blessing and Protection. I think it might have been on himself as well, so this touch of death is going to hit hard. But Trill is barely holding on. Cedu trying to get in line of sight, but Roasty's chasing him down. Evasive maneuvers from Trill. Paralysis on Roasty's. Trill still running. He's trying to hide. And he does manage to escape. Vivifies behind the pillar. Probably going to relay his Transcendence at this position. Maybe. No, he's just looking to run and hide. Sea-Doo stabilizing. Method Orange going to stay alive, and Rubcup didn't have to make too much of a trade.
Okay, so let's assess the situation here for a second. Method Orange, that was a bad start. They traded out their entire defensive arsenal. I'm not sure why Sea-Doo canceled that heal right there, but it seems like Trill is going to be fine for now. Trill has nothing for a couple of more seconds. Hammer of Justice. Trill is going to have to start immediately running if Mez can't shut this down. Nice Ring of Peace. Trill with the fade away Ring of Peace right there secures the stop there over onto Sea-Doo's polymorph there. So nicely done. But as I was saying, they got the Hand of Protection. They got Rubcup's every man for himself. So these are small victories. Now Trill needs to go in, pop that Serenity, force out another cooldown from Rubcup, and then start running again. Exactly the way he just did, but preferably on a little bit higher HP. That was a heart attack to all Method Orange fans.
I mean, that's twice now Trill has lived at 1% against M2KC. This could easily already be over in the grand finals. Definitely a tiny bit of luck. Obviously a lot of skill, but a tiny bit of luck from Method Orange here. Trill holding on barely. Touch of Karma going to trade here onto Rubcup. Roasties is low on health. Rubcup has to make a decision, activating the Avenging Crusader, trying to counter pressure and heal his team back up, but he is the target. Method Orange have decided to try and end this game much more quickly, but they can't. Trill is going to retreat away. They are going to respect the Avenging Crusader, cool down the damage increasing effect, try and avoid Rubcup while it's active, but Trill gets stunned behind the pillar. Rubcup moves in for potentially the game-winning added damage. Roasties continues the chain for Jamili to follow up. Earthen Wall Totem is going to be fading shortly for Sea-Doo, and with it the added defense. Sap out of the polymorph by Roasties. Vendetta available, but grapple weapon from Trill is slowing down Roasties' attacks. Jamili's Arcane Missile's not going to be denting Trill as he hides around the corner. Jamili blinking in once again. Mana still even here, 3 minutes in.
Yeah, and that was the polymorph on Sea-Doo now. He's on diminishing returns, so I want to see an attempt on Rubcup, and that's exactly what we're going to be seeing right here. Rubcup trades away with his Gladiator's Medallion, actually. He swapped off that Relentless, but he's trying to fake us those kicks. Huge touch of death, and that's going to be the Trinket as well as the Bubble. Sea-Doo gets polymorph. Trill is already on the run on the opposite side of the map. Mez trying to back him up with those Chains of Ice, waiting for that Hand of Freedom. Stuns up Roasties right there, and there it is. Chains of Ice over onto Roasties. No Hand of Freedom available. Trill kiting back to Sea-Doo, soaks up the counterspell. Sea-Doo should be able to stabilize Trill in this situation. Yep. And now they're looking to pound back over onto Rubcup. This is the exact strategy that I wanted to see from Method Orange.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. If you can use the Touch of Death to get, the Divine Shield as well as the Blessing of Protection, then all of a sudden you have a free Touch of Karma. But M2KC, they're still kind of keeping Trill on the back foot. He's got the Touch of Death coming up in a minute, Serenity in a minute as well. So there is a huge damage potential here for Method Orange. They just have to hold on. They're continuing the pressure. Rubcup taking massive damage into a full leg sweep. He's got no Trinket. Blessing of Protection comes in. Sea-Doo can't purge it though. He's in a Ring of Frost. Now it's Trill on the back foot. Anti-Magic Zone drops out. Trill using Fist of Fury to parry Roastie's incoming attacks, but now in a full kidney shot. But I think the crowd control is going to fade. Sea-Doo's sitting the blind. He decides to Trinket out. Does he have Spirit Link? He does. Is he going to drop it out? Looks like he will. It's a fair trade. Rubcup now, he's in a lot of trouble. Once this damage comes up for Trill, I really don't know what Rubcup is going to be able to do.
Vendetta is still rolling. Roasties has a lot of damage here. How is Sea-Doo going to heal through it? Trill's on the run. Sea-Doo trying to keep up. Rubcup moving in, looking to secure potentially Hammer Justice. He fake casts the Grounding Totem, kills it off, and secures the stun. But Roasties can't connect. Mez is keeping Roasties at bay. Trill is going to line of sight Jamili while Sea-Doo sits through the crowd control. Once again, great evasive maneuvers, but it might be all for naught. Trill is playing out of his mind to stay alive, but when we get another 3 minutes into dampening, they're just going to switch to Mez. And Mez is not as nimble in his older years on this Death Knight comparatively to the young gun Trill. He's not going to be able to escape to safely as easily, so it may all be for naught. Method Orange need to find a kill before dampening gets too high.
Yeah, but if they decide to go for Mez, that means that Trill gets free reign. Rubcup has to use his every man for himself. Trill's still gonna connect. There is the Serenity, Touch of Death, huge damage. Trill can just solo Rubcup here, force out the Hand of Protection potentially. A couple of more seconds for that Avenging Crusader. Rubcup's trying to hold on. There's the Hand of Freedom. Sea-Doo gets Ring of Frosted there by Jamili. Mez activating that anti-magic shell, trying to survive this situation. Rubcup with that Avenging Crusader should be okay. Mez in big trouble, which means Trill has to be really aggressive aggressive. Grapple weapon comes out. Rubcub in huge trouble still. Might have to use that hand of protection. And there it is on the asphyxiate.
Need a purge.
Here comes the purges from Cedar, but he has a lot of catch-up to do.
Yeah, Mez is really low. Can they take him down? How's he going to keep himself alive? He's got the anti-magic zone. The smoke bomb drops down. There's just no heals. Polymorph snuck in there by Jamili, and M2KC take Mez down. I like the strategy adaptation. Trill was just way too nimble on the Monk. They go after Mez, and I'm surprised how early they were able to kill him.
I mean, honestly, just really scary for Method Orange the entire time. Yes, their offense is good, but Trill is having to play the perfect balancing act. I was honestly astounded by how much pressure M2KC had in this game, and somehow, some way, Trill still managed to manage that with offensive pressure over onto Rubcub. M2KC, though, are 3-2 up in the series. They're one game away from being crowned our champions here in Cup 5 of the summer season, and what a way to do it. These games have been so back and forth.
Yeah, there's been a really good series here, and I can't really say that Trill did any mistakes in this matchup, and I think Sidu also did a good job keeping him going for such a long period of time, but unfortunately, at this point in the game, the DK really becomes a big exposed target here for M2KC, and they did a great job capitalizing on that. Really nice CC chain, and a lot of damage to back it up. Roasties with that smoke bomb play as well at the end, but I like that Method Orange's adaptation here, going for Rubcub. It looked a lot better for them, but still, it wasn't gonna be enough here. Mez falls in this game here, and I'm not sure if the Frost DK would have been able to survive better, or if they should bring in a different composition, maybe with the Demon Hunter, because I think if M2KC plays like this, then there's not really that much Method Orange can do. I think they're just favored in this matchup with how they played that match.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a really tough situation for Method Orange. I mean, we've been joking about it the whole day. What a great day this has been for the Method organization. First, they get the world first kill on Ashara, very close between them and Limits. They're going to feel fantastic to have snagged that. Then we see Method Black coming back from being 3-0'd earlier in the day and then winning in Europe. Now, if Method Orange could win 2 more games here, it would be absolutely incredible. But on the flip side, M2KC, we've been talking about them, and not only are they playing the Rogue Mage Paladin, they're having a really good Rogue Mage Paladin performance. All season they've been playing fantastically, and Jamili on this Arcane Mage, he's been impressive. He's been doing a good job of managing, not only surviving, which I think you almost take for granted as the Arcane Mage, but also his offense on this Arcane Mage. The team still seems really scary, even without fire.
Yeah, I mean, he's showcasing why, you know, Zico and I have been saying Arcane is really good. I mean, this is something Jamili has done in the past. It's not like this is his first time playing Arcane either. He's utilized it against the Cleaves in the past. I think it's really effective against the Restoration Shaman, against the Restoration Druid. You're able to take off the Riptide, the Earth Shield, and all the Restoration Druid heal over time effects is just really strong. And when you're not a target, you can be a lot more free in pushing in and getting polymorphs. We kind of talked about, you know, Frost Mage, Restoration Druid, how the way you play it out is a lot different. You play very passive, very safe. You don't use shimmers to get polymorph, but the Arcane Mage with this Chrono Shift, when he Arcane Barrages, he gets that sprint, he can actually push in. He has the mobility to sort of get polymorphs on his own, and it's been working out nice.
Yeah, it has been working out really nicely, and we'll have to see what Method Orange's answer is. I'm thinking back, and the one game I lost to Jamili at BlizzCon was him playing Arcane, so this guy's been holding it down on that specialization for a really long time. For Method Orange here, do we want to see them going back to that Demon Hunter Death Knight? I personally do, but I know you guys aren't super convinced in that matchup either.
I think the Demon Hunter Death Knight isn't the greatest matchup personally. If they can, I think the best possible matchup would look something like have Sidu play, you know, his Resto Shaman or Resto Druid, and then have Trill on that Windwalker with that same build, and then have Sam-I-Am tagged in as a Fire Mage, and then that way they can really get some damage going. Maybe even have Sidu on his Monk against Jamili on that Arcane Mage, but it's kind of sketchy because of the spell steals being super effective against the Monk too.
Yeah.
Basically, if they want to kill Jamili in any of these matchups and stop basically the onslaught that's happening, they need something with Lockdown and Burst, because if they go for a setup that kind of needs uptime to kill him, that's never going to happen. They're not going to get that uptime.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of the situation. They are going to go back to the Demon Hunter though, and I mean, the way they played the Demon Hunter was quite smart, right? Obviously, they have the Mana Rift condition. It's something we've seen from these guys time and time again. But in addition to that, they did a really good job of just pressuring Rubcub. And yes, they didn't have the same kind of burst that we see from the Windwalker, but their consistent pressure was good.
The consistent pressure was good, but if Sidu didn't drink, he would go out of mana before Rubcub, and Sidu sat down and drank right next to them. So I feel like that was a big error to make on the side of M2KC, and they're going to need to clean that up at least.
Yeah, they definitely will. I remember in that game, it was kind of weird, because for the first, 2 minutes of the game, Rubcub didn't lose any mana, and Sid was talking about it a little during the cast, that they were almost leaving Trill behind, but it did feel like they adapted slightly better into the game. Equally, the pressure is so much on Sidu to play a fantastic game on the Druid. Like, he's going to be tunneled down with very minimal help from his Demon Hunter and his Death Knight. Like, there's not that many peels on that, just a few defensive cooldowns. And, I mean, if Sidu has a good game here, I really believe that they can win this. I think this matchup is good for them, but if not, it's such a risky pick.
They won with it, but...
I mean, I kind of agree with you.
They did win with it.
I kind of agree with you. On Robodrome, it didn't look that bad for them. I mean, sure, there was moments where Trill, there was a massive panic mode, but outside of that, I mean, overall, Method Orange looked pretty solid. Like you kind of said, if they can consistently land those mana rifts on Rubcub, they can actually tunnel them down. Trill's going to actually be allowed to have some solid uptime in the match, and eventually, Rubcub will fall, but it is equally scary for Method Orange. I mean, the Arcane Mage is specifically effective against the Restoration Druid, so if they can maintain uptime on him, it's going to be hard for him to survive. And I think on this smaller map, it's going to be more difficult for Sidu to get away. Those large pillars on Robodrome really played into the favor of Method Orange. And now on Dalaran Sewers, I don't know if they're going to have that same luxury.
I think that's something we can all agree with. Robodrome was actually a really nice pick for Method Orange. Dalaran Sewers could be more tricky here. M2KC are 1 win away from winning their second Cup of the summer season. They won Cup 1. Now they're looking to win Cup 5. And actually, if they win this, they'll go straight up to number 2 in the North American standings. They will tie the boys. So very big potential for a team that has been a bit up and down. But M2KC, they are still having to win 2 more games. 1 more game here against Method Orange. Method Orange have looked good on this Demon Hunter Death Knight throughout multiple seasons. And I wouldn't put it past this going to a Game 7.
Even if Method Orange don't win this series, they're still winners in my books for finally being able to find a composition that beats Rogue Mage Druid. We were all just sitting here thinking there's nothing. I mean, we've tried so much. We've seen every team bashing their heads against it, but Method Orange took out Cloud9. They kind of beat their demons with that win because Cloud9 has had their number almost the entire year. Certainly an achievement there, even if they don't manage to take down M2KC. Not to count them out, they did find victory with this composition on the Robodrome. Definitely capable of finding victory on Dalaran Sewers. Trill the target early on for M2KC. They're not going for that all-out aggression on Sidu like we saw earlier, and Trill did take an enormous amount of damage in that game, and he barely survived, so definitely like this from M2KC.
I'm not sure if I like this strategy. I want to see them go after Sidu and just spam CC both Trill and Mez with the Frost Novas, with the Polymorph spam, and that way they will out-attrition Method Orange, but potential for Method Orange here to snag out some big cooldowns onto Rubcub. There is a nice Chaos Nova, going to be trinketed by Rubcub with his human racial right there, and he's still not out of it yet. Going to duck down, use that Divine Favor, get a big heal. Sidu not trinketing the blind. This is prime positioning for M2KC. They also forced that Trill trinket with that smoke bomb. Here we go with the Hammer of Justice. Do they have anything to follow it up? They're not playing the Ring of Frost like I mentioned earlier. Jamili is not going to be running that talent in general in any of these matches as the Arcane Mage, as he needs that Chrono Shift to speed himself up. Roasty's activating the Vendetta here, looking for Trill.
Yeah, and big damage coming in. Rubcub could actually be in a little bit of trouble right now. He may have overstayed his welcome. Mez trying to just solo him down. Trill caught in a kitty shot. Decent burst damage coming in from Jamili and Roasties. Jamili trying to find a polymorph on Sidu, unable to find one, as Sidu will be able to defend himself with the travel form. Jamili sneaks in a counterspell. Sidu moving forward, trying to secure some crowd control on Jamili. Actually was able to stop his evocation with that bash. And if Jamili isn't careful with his mana, he will get to a point where he actually can't spam out the spell steals, and that's an opportunity for Method Orange to sort of recover. But so far, it looks like they're going to be healthy. I mean, Trill, he's in a kidney shot right now, but with no crowd control on Sidu, he's looking like he's going to be A-okay.
Yeah, Jamili spamming out a lot of arcane blasts onto Trill there, but not finding too much damage. It's a decent amount. Trill doesn't seem to care. He's going to jump in on top of Rubcub, land the double stun combo with the Mana Rift, try to burst him down for a kill. Rubcub reverses with Avenging Crusader active. He's going to be doing a lot more damage, but his healing is not looking too effective. Having to use the Divine Shield on top of it. This is looking like a solid win, potentially for Method Orange.
Yeah, Method Orange are actually in a really good position here. I want to see M2KC go after Sea-Doo, try to just crowd control the melees here, because right now they're falling behind on the race. Rubcub already using so many of his different cooldowns right there. Hand of Freedom going to be forced here from Rubcub. He should be fine. Trill gets caught up in a kidney shot with the Arcane Power. Mez going to be trading out the Anti-Magic Zone for that. Trill still has his Darkness. Sea-Doo has his Trinket for the blind. Sea-Doo is also running the essence that gives him mana back. So mana should be looking good here for Method Orange if they can keep these Mana Rifts landing over onto Rubcub.
And Rubcub tried to sneak away for a drink, but it's just such a difficult task, especially against an Unholy Death Knight like Mez, who's able to just put his Ghoul on him. You can see the Ghoul chasing Rubcub down. Now Jamili actually making a swap over onto Mez, and normally the Death Knight is super hard to take down, but we saw Mez fall in the last game. Sea-Doo on the Restoration Druid should be able to keep him alive. Rubcub charging in. He's made himself a very vulnerable target. Trill's just ripping in with Mez. Rubcub might be able to survive here, but he's using a lot of mana. He needs to try to run. He needs to try to hide for just a little bit longer. Mez and Trill, if they can stay on target, Rubcub will fall. We need to start seeing some peels from Rosies and Jamili. Finally, a polymorph onto Trill. Kidney shot on Mez. Rubcub able to semi-stabilize, but he's caught in a stun. He's still not out of it yet.
Yeah, Rubcub on the run. Can he escape to safety, catching a Holy Light? Avenging Crusader activating. He should be easily stabilizing as a result, but how much longer can he keep going? His mana is not looking too good. The defense for Method Orange is still quite a lot. I mean, M2KC, one of their other main win conditions could be killing Mez in dampening. That's definitely been the main strategy for Rogue Mage in general with these Death Knight Druid teams, is to just stay alive, put some aggression out, and then kill the Death Knight deeper into dampening. But Rubcub's mana isn't looking good enough to make it. Beautiful Dispel on the Divine Favor into the Interrupt. Rubcub having to respect that play, trade out the Blessing of Protection, along with the Gladiator Safeguard. He's looking like he is going to stabilize, desperately trying to counterattack Mez. Sea-Doo moves in with Iron Bark, and that should be enough for Mez to stay aggressive.
Yeah, and that was Mez's Icebound Fortitude, Sea-Doo's Iron Bark, like you mentioned. So Mez could be in a little bit of trouble here, but dampening only at 3% right now. Rubcub dragging everybody down on the other side of the map here. Trill looking for another Mana Rift here. He's going to land it. Rubcub has enough mana for about one Avenging Crusader, but he doesn't have the cooldown here, so he needs to make the most of it. There's Hammer of Justice. Jamili channeling out the missiles. Mez doing a good job shutting that down. Trill getting polymorphed, and this is a decent strategy as well. Go after the DK. Make sure you spam purge. Jamili needs to get that Innovate from Sea-Doo. He's trying to get it. He goes for 2 spell steal. He does get it off there. Nicely done by Jamili, but he needs to keep purging Mez. Make sure that he never has any healing over time effects on him. But I think M2KC are running out of time here. And Rubcub, I'm not sure how long he's going to be able to hold on here. Trill is still chasing him around that pillar.
I think he can live for a really long time if Mez can't get there. But if Mez can get on target, if Mez can stay on Rubcub, he will fall. But they are not making it easy. The spell steal spam coming in from Jamili, denying the heals from Sea-Doo. However, here's the stun on Rubcub. He's got no mana. The Demon Hunter really doing work. Divine Favor, massive heal on Rubcub. Divine Steed, Blessing of Freedom. He's trying to run. He's trying to hide. He gets out of line of sight, but he's just got nothing. And now Rosies is really vulnerable. Mez can turn his attention there as Trill just stays on top of Rubcub, manages to find it, but at the same time, Sea-Doo gets caught in a sap. Mez in dire straits. He's all by himself. Anti-Magic Cell, Darkness gets dropped out. Mez might be able to hold on with those defensive abilities. Sea-Doo finally out of crowd control. Has to wait for the Iron Bark, but Rubcub in a bash. He is so vulnerable in this position. I think M2KC, they're going to lose this match. Rubcub, if he can hold on, it's going to be absolute miracle. Trill dispels the Divine Favor, interrupts Rubcub. Rubcub's still out of line of sight. How is he alive? Trill can't believe it at this point. Finally gets to his target and ties up this series. We are going to a Game 7, and It had to play out this way, right?
Yeah, I had a feeling from when we saw the first 2 games that this one was going the distance. Game 7 for the grand finals of Cup 5. You can't ask for something better here. Both teams going full in aggression. We're barely scratching dampening in a lot of these games just because both teams are playing such aggressive compositions. The Demon Hunter forces the issue with that mana rift. They have to play really aggressively here, Sid, because otherwise they are on that timer, as you saw M2KC losing just on that mana battle.
Yeah, but now they can go to a larger map, and if you're Method Orange, do you blind lock the Demon Hunter Death Knight? Because
that's the question.
If you're M2KC, I feel like you play Frost, Asa, Resto Druid, and run at Sea-Doo and kill him. The same strategy that we saw Rogue Mage Druid pioneer to defeat this composition in the past. So Method Orange have a tough decision to make because they've lost their blind pick with Windwalker Death Knight every single time. So now do they take the gamble blind locking the Demon Hunter Death Knight?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that is going to be the play. I feel like the map could be a deciding factor as well, but I feel like the Windwalker DK, M2KC figured out the strat. Just go on Maz and spam Purge. You're going to be winning if the game goes late, and you can easily drag the game late because RubCub, he's going to be able to survive with those hit and runs as long as you go after the Windwalker early on. So I think if M2KC replicate that strategy, they should be able to take that matchup. I think this matchup looks a bit better for Method Orange simply due to the fact that I think M2KC are just going after the wrong target. They're going after Trill, which in my opinion is the worst target. I'd rather see them go after Mez even before dampening, or go after Sea-Doo and just spam CC both of Mez and Trill. So I think if they go after Trill early on, that's not it.
I think this is a really tough situation for Method Orange because the DK Windwalker, even when they've been picking it as their counter, it hasn't really been working. Yes, they won the one map, I believe, but overall it seems like M2KC has much more favorable odds there. The Demon Hunter Death Knight, it's been working as a counter, but I feel like I really think that Fire from M2KC would probably beat it. I think Frost Resto Druid would probably beat it. So they're in a tough pickle here as we head into Game 7. But equally, they haven't lost with the Demon Hunter Death Knight. We know that Jim really dislikes that composition. Maybe you just lock it in and hope for the best.
I think it depends on the map a little bit. We'll have to see where M2KC decides to go. I'm trying to remember what we still have available.
That's a good question. What do we still have available? We definitely have Mugambala. We haven't seen that yet.
Available?
I don't think we have Tolvaron. I think we saw that very early in the series. Wasn't that game 2 or 3?
I think we have Tolvaron still.
I think we do
still have
Oh, if we have Tolvaron,
we have
then
Tolvaron. That's probably where we're going, right?
Yeah, we have Blade's Edge.
I feel like the thing that phased Demon Hunters out was the mana regeneration essences. Paladin can't run that because it needs vision and perfection. But if RubCub just changes, what happened? RubCub should just RubCub should just change to Druid, run mana regeneration essences, play Rogue Mage Druid. They don't even have to play the aggressive strategy. Just run mana regeneration essences as Rogue Mage Druid, stay alive to 40% dampening, and kill the Death Knight.
It's happened.
I feel like I've heard that. I feel like I've heard that strategy before.
That's all they have to do. If Method Orange blind lock the Demon Hunter Death Knight.
I'm hearing in my head the map selected from M2KC.
Is it the Prophecy?
It does appear to be Ruins of Lordaeron as the final map here.
Is that why no one wanted to tell me?
So we'll have to see what does end up happening. This is Game 7, so it will be the final map here played out, Ruins of Lordaeron. And what do we think of this pick from M2KC? Because obviously, we talked about the bigger maps. On the smaller map, would we like to see the DHDK as the blind from Method Orange?
I feel like it's Method Orange. They don't really have great options. They can get countered no matter what they pick. So they may as well go for it. They already won 2 series. I mean, if they pick Windwalker DK, they're probably just going to lose to Arcane again.
So probably the DHDK. You're grinning a lot.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I have no idea. The DHDK?
I feel like DHDK, why not? I mean, you're playing DHDK against M2KC. They don't like that composition very much. Like,
I mean, they literally lost 0-9 to it. It cost them a LAN appearance because they couldn't beat... Who were the 3 teams that beat them? I think it was the Boys, it was Method Orange,
and Resurgent.
So the 3 teams that qualified through to LAN all wiped the deck with them as this Demon Hunter Death Knight composition. Now Method Orange are like, well, I mean, it's the summer season. We haven't seen it too much, but
yeah,
it seems pretty good still, in this specific matchup at least.
Yeah. I feel like for M2KC, if we see Demon Hunter Death Knight locked in for Method Orange, and obviously they're taking all of their time to decide because there's a lot on the line. I mean, if either one of these teams wins this cup, they pretty much guarantee their position, I think, right?
I think at this point, they've basically guaranteed it. So M2KC have 100 points on the move. And that means if they came 7th, they would get 20 points. The move would literally have to win to even tie a 7th place finish from M2KC.
Could happen.
I mean, it could happen. The team that's in slightly more danger is Method Orange, because that's only 80 points right now, I believe. But if Method Orange were to win this, that would then be 100 points as well. And then suddenly you're like, well, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't think either of those teams are likely to come 7th, especially based on how well both have played today. Zico. Yeah, it's been good, right?
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
All right, here we go.
Far.
Yeah, so it is going to be Ruins of Lordaeron.
Rogue Mage Druid.
You want to see Rogue
Mana
Mage
Regeneration Essences.
They're going fire. They're going fire.
I think they can
Tag Rosita. If you want to win this, tag Rosita and Rogue. What the?
Oh my goodness. Rosita Jones on an unholy Death Knight?
No, this is
kind of what I talked about.
This is the composition you hate running into as a druid, right?
I hate this. But I thought they would play this with the red. Playing this with the Unholy Death Knight is really interesting. I am super curious how this will play out, because the peels from Death Knight and Demon Hunter aren't that good.
I've played with some druids that have died to this composition.
Yeah, I've already seen a few druids die to this comp.
Yeah,
but those druids are probably running Feral Affinity and full PvE gear, just charging at the enemy healer every game.
Probably.
Like stream content or something. Pretty sure Sidu's going to be Guardian Affinity, Master Shapeshifter, Thorns, max defense.
This is going to be
Game 7
This is going to be a bloodbath. There's no question about it. This is going to be a quick game.
You know what? I think everything's going to come down to Sidu. Sidu is the person to watch in this game. I can tell from personal experience that playing a Druid into DK Rogue is incredibly difficult. Equally, I think Sidu should survive this. I feel like if he has a good game here, Method Orange will win the cup. And I think this is a bad pick from M2KC.
I could agree. I mean, it's a risky pick for sure.
A risky pick.
It could pay off. Could also be a complete disaster. And if Sidu does have a good game, like you said, if he plays all the right talents, which I'm sure he will, this strategy coming in from Method Orange is not going to be, or from M2KC is not going to be a surprise. CD knows what's going on right now.
He knows exactly
He's like, oh, God.
Yeah, he's like, this entire cup has been so great for Sidu. He's like, I'm on my Shaman, I'm outplaying, I'm beating Rogue Mage, everyone loves me right now. And then Game 7, his hopes and dreams rest on Seadrew, which is something that we know isn't his favorite thing to play, even though we think on the desk that he's got pretty good at it. And he's playing against one of the toughest compositions you will ever play against on the Restoration Druid. He's going to get tunneled all game. He's not going to be able to get away because there's a Paladin chasing him with freedoms, and there's a DK. It's so difficult.
What trinkets do you think you should run?
As the Druid? I actually don't know. Maybe he doesn't need the Maledict. He definitely should go Safeguard, right? Maybe just... I like the on-use with versatility on-use. I think the damage reduction from that's pretty good. And then you can run Conflict and Strife, so you get more versatility as well.
Okay.
I think it could be good, but...
I like it. I like it.
We'll have to see. I think, honestly, for Method Orange as well, it's going to be about defense all around, right? Like, if they can rotate their AMZ on the Vendetta, the...
Big Darkness.
Big Darkness as well. Like, I feel like they have the tools to survive this. I don't think it's as easy...
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, Trill with Big Imprisonment, I feel like he's going to be able to crowd control Roasties quite a bit.
And they have the Death Grip for Roasties. They can do a good job. The Paladin does make it a bit more scary.
Freedom and...
Yeah, freedom and just general damage.
Do you guys have anything to contribute?
Sid hasn't talked to quite a while. He's just been trying to put me off with this big kind of Wallace and Gromit grin or something he's got going right now. I'm not honestly sure what's going through his head right now. It could be anything, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, as we do head into Game 7 here, is there anything that you think about this matchup, particularly Super Tees?
Well, I'm still waiting for my moment, Adrian, but there is one guarantee in this game for sure.
Okay.
Okay, what is that? Someone's going to win, right?
Yeah, someone's going to win. Someone's going to end up going home, right? Yeah.
The one guarantee is that Ruins of Lordaeron on match point would be a fitting final.
Thank you, production. Thank you so much. They seem to have saved us a little bit there.
I didn't quite get that.
What was that, Sid?
Oh, well. I think he said that we're in for a great game here. We're going to be going up. Game 7, Sidu and Jamili. They hate each other in arena. They love each other outside of the arena. Super Tees. I'm not sure what is going on right now, but I think we broke him for a second here. I mean, like you mentioned, Adrian, Windwalker,
I feel like
DH versus Rogue DK. I mean, this is literally the comp that chops up bears, so I'm not sure here. Keep it out.
I think it's fair to say it's going to be a fitting final resting place for one of these two teams. But yeah, let's get serious for a second here. This is Game 7 of the Grand Final in Summer Cup.
This is really,
This series, like we've been talking about Rogue Mage and dampening and all these things throughout the day. This series has had everything except for Resurrects. We saw that, I think, when was it that
that was M2KC as well.
That was M2KC. I think that was that in the open bracket or was that last weekend?
That was
either way.
Boys.
This has had everything except for Resurrects. This game could easily have a Resurrect. This game could go any way.
What?
It's going to be so fast.
Can easily have a Resurrect.
I mean, it can have a cross game. It can have anything.
Disagree there.
It could go down to a 1v1 between Rob Cub and not Sea-Doo, because if it gets last stage, he'll be long gone. But Method Orange versus M2KC, what a series! And I want to get some smiley faces in the chat because both these teams have played astronomically. They've beaten the Rogue Mage Druid. They've played in the aggression strategies, and now we'll find out who's the best. Game 7 between Method Orange, M2KC. Method, if they win this, they'll have won all 3 titles on the day. M2KC looking to play upset.
Here we go. Someone is going to be sent to an early grave here on Ruins of Lordaeron. Who is it going to be? This is going to be quite a high-intensity game for Sea-Doo, most certainly.
Yeah, this is going to be an explosive match. Do not look away at any moment. As soon as Sea-Doo reveals himself, it's going to be an all-in pain train from M2KC. It's going to be up to Mez and Trill to keep him alive. If they can do it, I mean, obviously it's going to be great for Method Orange, but he's already caught in a kidney shot. Here we go, M2KC, they're looking to get aggressive early on. Anti-magic zone trades. Sea-Doo uses Barkskin and Iron Bark to stay alive through this initial assault.
Yeah, and that was also the anti-magic zone from Mez Trails for the Vendetta, but Sea-Doo needs to make distance right now between him, Rob Cup, and Roasties. The longer he stays in, the more he's going to die. Rosita Jones taking a lot of damage here. We can see Trill is running that rain from above talent. Sea-Doo in huge trouble here. Darkness gets traded out. Trinket overlap. It's not looking good for Method.
Well, this is the Mew Mew Kitty Cat style, all aggression all the time, and they are going to outright crush Method Orange in less than a minute.
Yeah, okay, I was wrong. M2KC, that seemed like a pretty safe pick. They destroyed Sea-Doo through every single corner. We were almost saying that they were overlapping, and they just died through it.
So you still think that if he played right, he would have lived? Because that looked pretty hopeless, I'm not going to lie.
I'll tell you what, I actually really dislike Renewal on the rest of Druid in these picks. I think with Wild Charge, you can actually get away from these compositions. I think if you stand there and tank them, it is completely hopeless. So that's just my take on it. Either way, that was convincing, and M2KC are our champions.
While I agree, I feel like that matchup is really difficult for the Druid. He did not look like much of a bear there, kind of just like a scared little mouse, unfortunately, for Method Orange. But Mew Mew Kitty Cats, what a great performance, battling their way throughout the lower bracket. And you know what? We're going to rewatch the entirety of the game with the replay and break it down for all of you. So here we can see Sea-Doo he's in stealth right now. He's kind of just sitting there counting his blessings. He knows as soon as he exits that kitty cat form, he is dead, and of course he gets gripped in immediately there. Trill, Chaos Nova, trying to deflect the situation. Sea-Doo using his Iron Bark, using his Bark Skin as well before the Hammer of Justice. So far it's looking good. Here, he needs to wild charge away from Rosita Jones and run as far away as possible here from these guys, but unfortunately he is running that Renewal, gonna activate that too, but is only gonna absorb a couple of hits here from this unrelenting team of the Mew Mew Kitty Cats. And then here we go again, Sea-Doo in deep trouble. Safeguard procs, Trinket gets used. There's the darkness from Trill, and that is all of the defense for Method Orange. DR Sheepshot comes in over onto Sea-Doo, and he is gonna go down immediately.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, rewatching that, I actually am not very impressed by how Sea-Doo played that one on the Druid. I think you have to open further away. You shouldn't just get death gripped instantly. He didn't have time to get hots up. He got caught out of bear form, and then he had to use both his skins at the same time. So I think that's kind of the worst case scenario, and that's why them being able to tunnel him down was very tough for him there on the Druid. I think it's just kind of a series of unfortunate events, but it's definitely the hardest matchup you'll ever get as a Druid.
I think we spent the entire day saying that Rosita Jones is on the team to be the dampener, and then Jamili is the aggressive player, and I think Rosita had the quickest game of any single
today,
player.
I think so, yeah.
Might be even in the whole summer season, less than a minute.
Yeah, that was. We've talked from we've had the range today. We've had 15-minute games and now we've had 1-minute games. But
wait, what was the highest dampening today?
It wasn't that high.
Did we
It was
all
45.
lose?
We had two 45s,
45.
and I had 47. So I don't
all
win
lost.
because
We all lost.
Oh, wait, we all lost?
We
Yeah.
all lose because we all went
And our
over.
predictions, we all lost as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we suck.
Give me back my comment.
I predicted this final. At least I
Yeah,
predicted
you
the
got the
Wait,
final.
you got the
right.
final right.
All right, let's get over to the standings, guys, because this is very important with regard to the season standings. All of this weekend has been so important. Cloud9 in the annual standings are going with the boys. Both of those teams have locked it in. Method Orange with another strong performance here today most likely will go into the summer finals in third. Now, that is really important because it means if either the boys or Method Orange get a top 2 finish at the summer finals, then Method Orange will qualify through to BlizzCon, unless M2KC can come up with something crazy later today. But in terms of the season standings, this tournament was also equally impactful. Look at the gap now, 80 points for Method Orange. M2KC are on 400. I think the boys actually might also be on 400. I'm not 100% that that is up to date. But either way, we have Method Orange, we have the boys. Both of these teams are looking really, really good. And the Move are so far behind now, they're going to struggle.
They're definitely going to struggle. I mean, if you're a fan of the Move, they need every bit of energy you've ever given because they basically have to win the next cup, and they have to hope that either the boys or Method Orange have a horrible performance for, I think, a tiebreaker, essentially, and then they'd have to win the tiebreaker against that team also. So it's a tall order, but it's not impossible, and if there's any team that could pull off a miracle, I feel like it would be Peekaboo and the Move.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see if they can actually pull that through. That will be the big topic for North America next weekend. If the Move can win the cup, literally win it, then they do still have a chance here because Method Orange didn't win the grand final.
Yeah, but it's going to be a tall order because if Method Orange gets, high placing still, I'm pretty sure they're still going to be going there. So the Move, their fate isn't completely in their hands, but regardless, they're going to need to win that next cup because of both of these teams being so far ahead of them. And we're starting to see who is actually going to be at the summer finals from Europe as well. We kind of have it decided now that Zyzon fell off a little bit. Here we saw Resurgent fall off a little bit. The Move, unfortunately for them as well, so close. We can't stress enough how close they were to actually making top 3 in this tournament. One game away from beating Cloud9, ensuring that they would be in that upper bracket. So, they're going to have to give it all next week.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have to give it all. All that we can say, I know Absturge was tweeting out he was a little bit disappointed at the end of yesterday, and basically the response I gave him is, it's 1 week left, you might as well give it 110%. Give it everything you've got. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't. But obviously, we'd love to see them in fighting form next week.